koranabuhanga, ikigo cyiswe Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution Rwanda, akaba mu by'ukuri ari ikigo gishamikiye ku ihuriro mpuzamahanga mu by'ubukungu World Economic Forum, akaba ari cyo cyambere gitangijwe ahangaha ku mugabane wa Afrika. Kugira ngo dusobanukirwe byinshi kuri iki kigo, nakiriye Alain Ndayishimiye, umwe mu bayobozi b'iki kigo hano mu Rwanda. Alain, ikaze kuri televiziyo Rwanda.
Murakoze.
Reka dutangire tukubaza ibijyanye n'amavuko y'iki kigo muri rusange.
Murakoze. Iki kigo cya Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution Rwanda kigiye gutangizwa ku mugaragaro uyu munsi. Ni ikigo gishamikiye ku muryango uko wari bivuze wa World Economic Forum, kufatanye na leta y'u Rwanda mu kwihutisha iterambere rigera kuri bose hifashishwa ikoranabuhanga mu buryo bwo kubateza imbere no guteza imbere ubuzima bwabo muri rusange.
Ni ikigo mu by'ukuri wabyumva yavuga ko kizaba gikora iki, kizaba gikorana n'abandi?
So ni ikigo nanone nk'uko nari mbivuze kihutisha iterambere rigera kuri bose ku bufatanye n'abafatanyabikorwa bacu, haba bari hano mu Rwanda cyangwa bari hanze rwabwo. Twifuza ko nawe wasigwa inyuma n'iterambere ry'ikoranabuhanga, ahubwo twese twabyungukiramo. Ibi tubigeraho dusuzuma ingamba na politike zijyana n'ikoranabuhanga, tukareba amategeko mu rwego rwo kuyagenzura no kuyagenisha n'igihe kugira ngo twese tubyungukiremo.
Ni ukuvuga ngo mwinjira muri za politike zijyanye n'iby'ikoranabuhanga, mukinjira mu bijyanye n'amategeko, urwo ruhererekane rwose rugamije guteza imbere iby'ikoranabuhanga.
Yego, tureba ahari imbogamizi, bikadufasha nanone kureba ese ikoranabuhanga ryageza ku Banyarwanda, ni izihe ngaruka zabagiriraho, kandi tunareba cyane cyane benefits bakora muri ikoranabuhanga,
inyungu babona muri ikoranabuhanga. Nibyo ni impinduramatwara ya kane mu by'ikoranabuhanga ariko cyangwa mu by'inganda, ariko ubona ko iganisha ku ikoranabuhanga. Mu by'ukuri babyumva, baratekereza ko abantu ba mbere bagomba kubyungukiramo cyangwa se bagomba kuzana izo mpinduka ari urubyiruko, kubera ko ari rwo twavuga ko rwazanye n'ikoranabuhanga.
Ni urubyiruko cyane cyane kuko ariko usanzwe tuzi ko ariko koresha ikoranabuhanga, ariko ko twe tubibona nuko buri muntu wese, haba urubyiruko haba n'abakuze, bose bagomba kubyungukiramo. Twatangiye kubona ko cyane cyane hano mu Rwanda abantu batangiye kuyoboka nk'ibintu bya social media cyangwa izi serivisi zitangwa kuri za murandasi nk'irembo. So ni gute twatangiye gutekereza ese ni gute abantu babyungukiramo, ariko nanone tureba ingaruka izi technology zabagiriraho, tukareba nanone kuri side yo kuvuga se niki cyakorwa kugira ngo tubyihutishe bigiye kuri bose, kandi twese dufashe kugera mu mibereho myiza twese twifuza.
Ni iki bisobanuye kuba kino kigo ari cyo cyambere gifunguwe ku mugaragaro ku mugabane wa Afrika, kikaba gifunguwe hano mu Rwanda?
Kuba ari cyo cyambere ku mugabane wa Afrika, cyambere nuko World Economic Forum tugiriye icyizere, ikatubona mu bushobozi cyane cyane duhereye kuri pilot projects natangamo ingero nka cya kigo cya Zipline. Buriya niho byanatangira urebye. Buriya Zipline kugira ngo ujye mu Rwanda yari ku bufatanye bw'abafatanyabikorwa batandukanye, ariko harimo na World Economic Forum. So bamaze kubona success ya kira kigo, baravuze se ku Rwanda tubona ari mu bihugu bigihutisha iterambere bikoresha ikoranabuhanga mu buryo butandukanye, ni gute twabegera tugakorana ku rwego rwa Afrika, ariko twibanze ko ibikorwa byose byabera hano bitari gusaba Abanyarwanda, ahubwo twabiscalinga bikagera muri Afrika no na hanze yabo.
So aya ni amahirwe rero yegereye Abanyarwanda,
ni amahirwe na urubyiruko n'abandi bose bari mu ikoranabuhanga.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. Kindly take our seats. Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, welcome, 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 welcome. We've already had a very interesting start to the day. I'll catch you up in just a bit, but thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to the official launch of the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Rwanda. My name is Georgie Ndirango. The audience has already warmed up to the conversation on the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Just to recap, in the morning we had a healthy conversation on why Rwanda decided to set up the center. Of course, after the signing at the World Economic Forum, then we went into conversations on health, where it became clear that even though we have about 1 doctor per 5,000 people within certain parts of the population, there are still alternatives to healthcare, most of which we have seen provided within the digital healthcare space. A bit after that, we had a very interesting session on finance and interesting statistics mentioned there. One particular target, I know the rest of the audience caught that, was that there was a target by Rwanda to achieve a certain set of transactions by 2024. That amount was achieved in December of 2021. That is about 10.2 trillion Rwandan francs in digital transactions. So, warm round of applause there. So higher than the country's GDP, so it's fantastic news and even more reassuring as we get into a more technologically advanced age. So, up to there, I think we're good to go. We're all caught up. Now, let's get into, since we're getting into the official launch, let's get into the groove of things. Mr. President, during the whole session, we've been asking the audience for feedback on certain things. Let's start on one. Since we are analyzing just how much we're well aware of the advanced technology in the country and in the region, how many of you driving have gotten a ticket from Sofia on the road? How many of you? Don't worry, I'm not taking data for anyone. So, what most of you might not know is that that's one of the implementations of advanced technology and, of course, artificial intelligence, and we'll get to hear a lot more. So Rwanda, having the C4IR and the center and it being launched today is not by any mistake, right? And we'll get to know more of that. For the launch ceremony today, we get to hear from a few speakers and dignitaries before we hear from our guest of honor. For now, please, let's turn our attention to the screen. Here's a showcase of C4IR, the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Rwanda, and its role in shaping inclusive and responsible technology governance as we continue to adopt the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Enjoy.
The Fourth Industrial Revolution is the convergence of the physical, digital, and biological world. The Fourth Industrial Revolution is the convergence of the physical, digital, and biological world, changing our way of life and shaping a future driven by innovation.
We are experiencing a new chapter in human development, enabled by extraordinary technology advances, creating tremendous efficiency and enhanced productivity in the way we live and work, disrupting industries from financial services to healthcare delivery.
With the unprecedented speed and scale of emerging technologies, as governments, we cannot afford to wait and see. We must be proactive in engaging the private sector and other key stakeholders to reimagine regulation in the context of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The way we govern these emerging technologies will determine who gets left behind and who gains a competitive advantage for the future.
What does this mean for Africa? Africa will be home to over 1/3 of the world's youth population by 2050, making it the largest and fastest growing workforce in the world. Africa's youth are its most important asset to capitalize on the opportunities the Fourth Industrial Revolution holds.
Countries who do not have the vested interest, the legacy of the old models of care, or the old models of technology or delivery of anything, have the opportunity to reinvent how the reality and the future should be based on the potentials and the possibilities of what technology provides for us today, rather than the legacy of what we carry with us from yesterday.
In 2017, the World Economic Forum launched the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution Global Network with the mission of ensuring that the Fourth Industrial Revolution benefits both people and the planet. With over a dozen centers around the world, the network helps leaders anticipate, understand, and shape the trajectory of technological change for more equitable and sustainable societal outcomes. Now, for the first time in Africa, the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution has been launched in Rwanda.
Rwanda has the opportunity, together with the center, to reinvent the relationship between the private and the public sector as we define the fourth industrial revolution.
Rwanda has had a long history of innovation, whether it is innovating in the midst of adversity or taking deliberate steps to create a conducive environment for young innovators to thrive.
The establishment of the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution is a testament to Rwanda's entrepreneurial approach to leadership and its strategic decision to use technology as an accelerant of economic growth and social prosperity.
The center's work, which is focused on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data governance, convenes local and global stakeholders to co-design innovative governance protocols and policy frameworks, and pilot them with partners from government, private sector, civil society, and academia to maximize the benefits and minimize the risks of emerging technologies.
Africa has a unique opportunity to lead the world towards a more inclusive and sustainable fourth industrial revolution.
We invite governments, businesses, academia, and civil society to join us in shaping the future of technology governance in Africa.
Join me in welcoming the Managing Director for the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Rwanda, Crystal Rujaje, please.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Rwanda, Mr. Borge Brende, President of the World Economic Forum, representatives of the Diplomatic Corps here present, the Board of Directors of the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Rwanda, distinguished guests, good morning to you all, and a very, very warm welcome to the official launch of the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I'm deeply honored to stand before you today as we mark this important milestone and celebrate the long-standing partnership between the World Economic Forum and the government of Rwanda in shaping a better future through multi-stakeholder dialogue and driving impactful initiatives in the global public interest. Your Excellency, allow me to begin by thanking you for your visionary leadership and being a champion for technology innovation. Through your leadership, Rwanda has a solid foundation to harness the benefits of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, starting with strategic investments made to create more equitable access to energy, connectivity, and devices, to also prioritizing progressive policies and regulations that embrace innovation and also safeguard social welfare. Let me also take this opportunity to appreciate Professor Klaus Schwab, the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum. Although he could not join us today, we do feel his presence through the strong delegation from the forum led by Mr. Borge Brende. Borge, thank you for honoring our invitation. Professor Schwab originally coined the term the Fourth Industrial Revolution in 2016 to describe the rapid evolution of technology that is a fusion of the physical, the digital, and the biological world. In Rwanda, we have already witnessed the emergence of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, from using drones for blood delivery to delivering more equitable access to finance through microlending using blockchain, and also healthcare being driven by artificial intelligence. These emerging technologies unlock tremendous opportunities to improve our lives and also our livelihoods to deliver sustainable development goals. However, as we work to advance the benefits of emerging technologies, we must put equal effort into identifying and mitigating the negative impact that they can have on society. Governance in the context of the Fourth Industrial Revolution cannot be the sole responsibility of governments. At the pace these technologies are evolving, a multi-stakeholder approach is critically important to co-design and adopt these solutions that benefit not only the privileged few, but all of society. The Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution Global Network was created to respond to the urgent need for a faster and more agile approach to governing emerging technologies, and also the business models that they enable. We are now a network of 16 centers globally, spanning 5 continents. And today, we have the distinct honor of hosting the first official launch of a center in Africa. Our network is driven by 3 guiding principles. First, we are a space for global cooperation. The center is dedicated to co-designing governance frameworks, including laws, regulations, norms, and best practices that shape the trajectory of the fourth industrial revolution with local knowledge that can empower global change. Second, we are not just a think tank, we are also a do tank. We partner with governments, private sector, civil society, and academia to co-design these frameworks, but also pilot them and accelerate the rapid iteration and scale. And this also aligns to Rwanda's ambitions to becoming a proof of concept hub for technology innovation. And lastly, we are a champion for ethics and values in technology. All policies, frameworks, and regulations developed by the center prioritize ethics and also human-centered values that promote social inclusion. Since our establishment in 2020, the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Rwanda, has made strides towards a more agile and inclusive approach to technology governance. Informed by our national development priorities, the center focuses on data governance, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Over the past 2 years, we have worked very closely with local and global institutions to advance our priorities as a center. Most notably, we've collaborated closely with the Ministry of ICT, the National Cybersecurity Authority, and Covington and Burling, among other partners, to co-design Rwanda's law on the protection of personal data and privacy. This law is of particular significance because data is one of the most strategic assets for countries, for businesses, and for individuals. The law not only gives rights to our citizens, but it ensures that data can flow both domestically and internationally in a safe and secure manner. The center has also supported government in collaboration with a number of stakeholders such as GIZ in drafting Rwanda's artificial intelligence policy and building infrastructure that can track the country's AI journey over time, helping both the government to inform investment priorities and also identify opportunities for private sector solutions. Furthermore, we are working with the health tech community to pilot innovative applications in artificial intelligence. To pilot innovative applications in artificial intelligence in healthcare and examine how these solutions can be scaled and governed responsibly. Now, as we look towards the future, the center will focus on scaling its work at a continental level, accelerate impact, and drive change. Africa is uniquely poised to lead the fourth industrial revolution by using emerging technologies to address its most complex challenges, while also unlocking opportunities for our young people. We look forward to partnering with all of you here today to accelerate the inclusive and responsible adoption of emerging technologies for the benefit of society. I thank you.
We're not only a think tank, we're a do tank. For any of you tweeting, that's the line. The hashtag is Rwanda4IR. Right, let's keep it moving. Thank you very much, Crystal. We'd like to hear remarks on how Rwanda's leadership has shaped global technology governance. And for that, please help me welcome Bohe Brenda, who's the president of the World Economic Forum.
Your Excellency, President Kagame, ministers, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to be here at the formal launch of the Rwanda Center for the fourth industrial revolution. This is the first center to be formally launched in Africa. It also says a lot about the leadership in this country when it comes to leapfrogging and being visionary when it comes to the new technologies. This is, as I said, the first center to formally be launched in Africa, and also a reflection of the special relationship between the government of Rwanda and the World Economic Forum. The President came to our annual meeting in Davos for the first time more than 20 years ago, then as the Vice President of the country, I'm told. And since then, the President has been very regular. Under your leadership, President Kagame, my dear friend, Rwanda has made important economic and structural reforms and sustained its economic growth rates over the last decade, and is now rebounding also after handling the pandemic in a very responsible way. Our economist at the World Economic Forum is expecting more than 11% economic growth this year. I also think that this Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution will play an important role to meet the vision of Rwanda becoming an upper middle income country by 2035. The Rwanda Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, I hope, will be a key enabler of Rwanda's goal of becoming really even more prosperous society and country. Over the last 2 years, we have seen an acceleration of the digital transformation. COVID has led to an acceleration that probably would have taken 10 years, has happened in the last 2 years. And things are happening very fast. If you look at the 10 companies in the world with the highest market cap, 7 of them are now in the technology sector, and 7 of them did not exist 20 years ago. So that also underlines the importance to now be very much in the front when it comes to having the right environment for seed capital, also when it comes to venture capital, and use the skills of young people. And no, borders are not anymore necessarily a hurdle, in the sense that you can set up companies wherever in the world if you have the right enabling environment, because you don't need to travel. You can run your company from anywhere if you have access to the internet. And this fourth industrial revolution is happening at a pace that is much faster than in the past. When we saw the first industrial revolution at the late 1700s in England, it took 100 years for this industrial revolution to spread to the rest of the world. When we got the landlines, anyone remember the landlines anymore for phones? You know, it took 75 years before 100 million people had those landlines. The internet has taken a decade, and close to 4 billion people have access. So one has to move fast, but one also has to invest in technology. And here I do think that the Rwanda Center will play a critical role in establish global governance frameworks, but also play a critical role to fulfill the vision of the government of Rwanda. So I'm really delighted to be here with you today to mark this very important step in our joint effort to establish an affiliated center for the fourth industrial revolution here in Rwanda. And I would like to thank you, Mr. President, personally, also Minister Ingabire and the government of Rwanda for this great cooperation, and also the private sector and the multi-stakeholder approach here in Rwanda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you too. Things are indeed moving very fast. So we'll keep with that same momentum, both as a country and in this session. Before we hear from the guest of honor, let's turn our attention to the screen again, get some video remarks from Professor Klaus Schwab, who has been mentioned a few times during some of the speeches here today, is the founder and the executive chairman of the World Economic Forum.
Your Excellency, President Kagame, dear Minister Ingabire, dear participants, it's a great pleasure to speak to you today and celebrate the opening of the Center of the Fourth Industrial Revolution on the African continent. I'm very pleased that the President of the World Economic Forum, Borge Brende, could join you today in person, and I'm looking forward to visiting the center as soon as possible. Now, it is no surprise that the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution is based in Rwanda. We have had such great collaboration with your government, Mr. President, over the years. And we have seen many examples of Rwandan tech entrepreneurship and governance. So I want to start by congratulating everyone who made this center happen, and to thank all those who have worked on its inauguration. I have no doubt this center will herald in a new era, not just for Rwanda and its people, but for the whole continent. If we are here today, it is thanks first and foremost to tech champions in the government. President Kagame, of course, the Ministry of Information, Communication, Technology and Innovation, led by Minister Paula Ingabire, a member of our Board of Trustees, as well as the other national organizations which are engaged. I also want to thank the business leaders who will work closely with the center and the center staff, led by Crystal Rugege. As we have seen previously with tech pioneers in Rwanda, such as Zipline, your innovation and entrepreneurship are key in heralding in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. My friends, the work of our 4 IR centers, as we call them, has always been important. But in this time of great global upheaval, it is more crucial than ever to build together a better future and to use technology to do so. This is the work we rededicate ourselves to. Never has our global collaboration approach been more important. Rwanda holds a very special place for me. It was from the very beginning one of the first countries to fully engage with the new idea we brought to technology governance, and namely that we need to apply our multi-stakeholder model to technology policy. The World Economic Forum on Africa 2016 was held in Kigali on the theme Connecting Africa's Resources through Digital Transformation. Rwanda was also the first African country to send actually a fellow to our campus for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in San Francisco. And he worked closely with the Civil Aviation Authority in Rwanda and with our experts to co-design a new way to regulate autonomous drone deliveries. The Zipline program, enabled by this regulation, has delivered countless payloads of donated blood to rural trauma centers, saving in such a way thousands of lives. And the regulatory framework developed in Rwanda has been adopted by other countries throughout Africa and around the world. After the exceptional success of the drones policy, you forged ahead. As you will hear today, the center has already been busy on the frontiers of healthcare, artificial intelligence, and data policy. It is laying now the groundwork for Rwanda to lead Africa in the fourth industrial revolution. Rwanda is an example of post-COVID resilience and a pioneer to bring vaccine production to the African continent. The Forum is engaged in addressing global issues in a systemic way. That is why we have numerous initiatives, not only in the era of the fourth industrial revolution, but related to the new economy and society which is evolving, to the preservation of nature and fighting climate change, and of course, to the whole complex of industry transformation. All those areas are deeply interconnected, and we have to deal with those areas with an approach of systems leadership. The Forum is proud to partner with you, not only in the area of the fourth industrial revolution, but in all fields which are shaping the global transformation. Our joint efforts further illustrate the relevance of public-private partnerships in advancing sustainable, resilient, and inclusive solutions. I look forward to building this future together with all of you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, time to hear from our guest of honor. Now, as I introduce you, Mr. President, let me remind you something. 5 years ago, we had a panel discussion at the Transform Africa Summit, 2017 in May. It was me moderating, you, and among us, we had 8 heads of state. During that time, the conversation was on how deliberate regions were positioning themselves either to be ICT hubs or to be frontliners in ICT globally. It's 5 years later from now. Please, a warm round of applause, because there's one thing saying and another thing doing.
In 2017 was long ago, so I didn't remember that. Borge Brande, President of the World Economic Forum, Christo Rujeje, Managing Director of the Center for Fourth Industrial Revolution, Rwanda, senior officials, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to join you today for the launch of the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Rwanda. I would like to start by thanking the World Economic Forum and Professor Klaus Schwab for the long-standing partnership. And Borge, thank you for joining us here today in person. We've known each other with the Borge for quite some time now. Happy to see you in our country. Over the years, the forum has accompanied our country's ambition to be a digital economy aiming at inclusive and sustainable growth. The launch of the center is happening at a critical time, and we must take full advantage of it. In Rwanda and all over the world, emerging technologies have driven innovations to contain the COVID pandemic and mitigate its impact on livelihoods. This has sped up changes that were already underway. The way we live, work, and interact with each other will keep evolving as technology does. But data governance frameworks have not kept up with the fast pace of digital transformation. I therefore commend the Center for Supporting the Development of Rwanda's Personal Data Protection and Privacy Law. And the policy will safeguard our citizens while leveraging emerging technologies for the betterment of our communities. Allow me to suggest 3 other ways in which strong partnerships, such as this one, can accelerate digital transformation. First, by stimulating entrepreneurship through increased investment in the right skills and capacity. Second, by helping to address the financing gaps that prevent Africa's businesses scaling up. Lastly, by working to harmonize Africa's data governance landscape and thereby fast-tracking the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Some of these partnerships have already begun, and I thank all partners for their promising initiatives. The launch of this center is enabled by investments that we as a country have been making in science and technology. I hope the center will build on this by making the 4th Industrial Revolution an equalizing force and contributing solutions to some of today's most pressing challenges. We are very happy to have the World Economic Forum as a partner in this crucial and other endeavors. Here, I wish to thank you for your being here and also for your kind attention.
So, it's time for us to go for the photo session, but before that, my question to you now, based off of what you've heard, and the progress that we've made, and the reminder from 2017, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel like we're doing, Mr. President? 0, 1, no, 1, the other side, 1, 0, 10. 8 out of 10. Ah, all right. Right, so at this point, please allow us to go to the photo session. As I had mentioned to the rest of the audience, kindly just maintain your seats. Protocol will usher those that need to go for the photo session as well, and then we'll let you know when we can also depart. Thank you very much for your kind audience. Guest of honor, His Excellency President Paul Kagame, thank you as well for joining us. We'll speak about the rest in just a second. Please rise as we exit.
Yeah.
I think it's fine now.
wa Repubulika Paul Kagame akaba amaze nk'uko mwarimu bikurikiye rero Perezida wa Repubulika Paul Kagame akaba amaze gutangiza ku mugaragaro iki kigo kigamije kwihutisha iterambere rigera kuri bose, ikigo cyiswe Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Ikigo mwumvise ko kitangiye ku bufatanye bwa leta y'u Rwanda ndetse n'ihuriro mpuzamahanga mu by'ubukungu World Economic Forum. N'umuhango rero mwarimu kuri cyanga kuri televiziyo Rwanda. Iki kigo kikaba ari cyo cya mbere gitangijwe ku mugabane wa Afurika nyuma yaho ibigo nk'ibingibi ku rwego mpuzamahanga bitangijwe n'ihuriro mpuzamahanga mu by'ubukungu World Economic Forum mu mwaka w'ibihumbi 2017. Reka tubashimire rero kuba mwakurikiye umuhango wo gutangiza iki kigo hano muri Kigali Convention Center. Tubifurize umunsi mwiza no gukomeza kunogerwa n'izindi gahunda zose televiziyo Rwanda dukomeje kubagezaho.
It's now, we're doing really well with time. We were meant to close at 12, but we've managed to summarize within, like 30 minutes early. So please, let's kindly go for lunch, but we could return a few minutes before 2. We're set to start the next session at 2. So if we could all just return around 1:45, 1:50 Kigali time. When we come back, we'll talk about the launch of the Data Protection Office. We'll have a panel on the role of multi-stakeholder cooperation in shaping Africa's data protection landscape. Another panel on building trust. We've talked about trust just a bit with the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, but we'll talk a bit more about that and driving innovation. And then we'll see a bit more on shaping the future of artificial intelligence and machine. Of course, just come back. All this cannot be summarized within a minute, but we'll get to see the rest of it as the session continues. Thank you very much for your audience so far. We'll see you right after lunch. Enjoy.